Hi, I'm really glad that you're here. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I want to address a question or statement I hear a lot. The statement being, it gets better. And the question being, does it truly get better? I want to take May 1st of 2022 to address this. And as a therapist, I tell my patients, my clients, and their families, I don't blow smoke or lie to people, and I won't sugarcoat. My character in general and values really align with integrity and honesty, and there is a special place in my heart for honest conversation and very realistic ones. Not puke and sunshine, toxic positivity. I even say my 14-year-old angsty, cynical brain, which I still have a little bit of. But for 34 years, I've oscillated between the concept of life truly does actually get better. There's a combination of lived experience, whether it's me, myself, someone who struggled and is now in mental health recovery from those chronic conditions, or even Anne as a sibling to someone who ended their life by suicide in 2017. And I continue to try to figure out what life is like without him. Or if it's Anne as a therapist, who for a decade has specialized with working with 14 to 30-year-olds during one of the most rapid developmental times for a human brain and body. Yet it's also a time for a lot of suicide risk of drugs and alcohol use. This is often the ages when mental health conditions really arise, and just major life changes in general. I'm going to keep it simple in the beginning, in case people either don't have the attention span or time, that the question of, does life get better? It does. But maybe not in the way that you're playing it in your head. There's not really a day with no sadness or fear or disgust. There's no day or moment where you hit perpetual happiness for the rest of your life. There is, however, a lot of days of learning, and there's definitely a lot of days of contentedness. Lots of days of being joyful that it's actually just a boring day and nothing happened at all. You'll go from, oh my God, this boring weekend, it sucks so bad, to nothing happened or changed. It was freaking great. You'll go from thoughts like, I feel like things just keep happening to me. Why do they keep happening to me? To nothing big. Just small things came up, which is nice. So in that way, it gets better. Grief will turn into your greatest teacher. Tough love, because it will definitely confront you with some of the most difficult lessons, whether you are ready for it or not. And you move from ultimatums, like things of, oh, it's really good or it's bad, and you're going to be finding balance about things, that it's good and, or yes and. You stop saying buts and you stop contrasting or making things so extreme. So they're good and bad, and they all deserve kind of a place at the table. And you kind of ask yourself things like, is there a way where there's no pain at all, or I'm not questioning things, or I find complete peace where there's nothing that I worry about? No, I don't think that there is. And I won't lie to you. Those days, I truly believe in 34 years of my life, I don't know if they exist. I would say it's a hard no for me. And thank goodness, to be honest, because anytime I hear that people get everything that they want or everything that they've ever wanted, that they get really bored, and it's actually short-term relief and they're finding the next thing, and sometimes that could get even more dangerous. And I'm letting you know, this isn't like some cheesy mindfulness podcast or message saying just be in the moment. But I will say, it gets better, and it has a lot to do with enjoying the ride while you're in it. And some days you're going to be the driver and sometimes the passenger, and maybe you're even in another car watching somebody else enjoy it. But it gets better because you learn that being happy for people when they succeed. You feel good when they do well, especially people that you love. You learn to be happy for people. It's one of the greatest lessons that my parents told me for a long time, is just be happy for people. We get caught in the toxicity of comparing ourselves and things we need to do and exceeding expectations as meets and all those wild things we tell ourselves. And a lot of the times culture tells us, but you have to stay on top of that. It gets better because you kind of just get disinterested in comparing yourself. You cut to the bull crap. You just the most important things. Like, if I don't get this done by, you just keep working on it. You stay engaged, you learn skills. It gets easier to get back up. My greatest positive self-statement is nothing can hurt me as bad as I've been. And it's hard to have something like that to compare, like the loss of my brother, when I say nothing can hurt as much as that hurts, but it also really helps me. It helps me push through hard days. It's weird to use a loss as something that propels you forward, because it was something that held me back and broke my heart for a really long time. And I'm still learning how to mend it a little bit. Better is defined to me as finding a flow that works for you. A narrative where you're the hero of your own story, whether it's the hero or the player or you're just a support, whatever way you want to see it. It's an ending where you live as long as possible. Because you learn to laugh at the human parts of yourself rather than hate them. Like the weird meta-analytical crap, like thinking in complex ways and feeling emotion and pain and the wrinkles and the gray hairs that turn into, badges of honor rather than things that suffocate you or you don't like. You get better and because you stop chasing for nothing and everything. You stop going to those extremes and you're just enjoying the ride. And I've learned that brain development during 14 to 30 is rapid yet ongoing development of life and the world as it hits us. It's still going to be like a freight train, but it happens at all ages. And I'm still thinking about if it's better to take that freight train head on or step aside or run with. Maybe you get in. I guess I'll get back to you on that one. I'm still learning, but the largest truth, if I can tell you, is the narrative you're telling yourself. Whether you're telling yourself in your mind if it gets better or not dictates that phrase and that answer to that question. I can tell you very, very clearly I'm really glad I stayed when I had thoughts, and I think people who want to or have taken their lives, if you ask them even to their hardest day or week, they'll tell you that they do believe it gets better. They'll just say just not for them. And I say it's when you stop including yourself in that category of hope, when you stop staying engaged or stop trying, or even when you are trying, which you say that you're no longer a part of that narrative. You have to keep yourself in that narrative. I believe it gets better. I can tell you things very clearly. Like if you're wondering if people will miss you, they will. And if you're wondering if you matter, you do. If you're wondering if people notice, they do. If you're wondering if the world will be better off, we won't be. And very openly, if you're wondering if it gets better, it does. What better looks like, though, is up to you. I hope you keep writing it. Keep writing your story so you can find out for yourself. I appreciate you listening, and although this is, for my purposes, educational only, and I'm sharing, it's not formal treatment, please seek out care or connection from a loved one, a professional, could be a therapist, psychiatrist, coach, anyone. I know for a fact they'll be really happy you did. And if you want a more anonymous approach, I always plug the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 1-800-273-8255. I'm really glad that you've stayed and continue to stay, and I look forward to hearing from you. Take care and heal on.